Alrighty, we are back. We are back. We are back. Hey, everybody, Steve here. Welcome to The Varied Life, where we do resin printing, FDM printing, miniature painting. Going to be wiring up a Necroid, Doomstalker, and all kinds of other crazy stuff. Yeah, so we got some good stuff going on. It is, what day is today? I don't even know what day is today. Today is Thursday, the 19th here in Korea. So if you're in the United States, I'm time traveling from the future back to you. So far, everything's okay. With that said, what we're going to end up doing is taking a look at our Necron Combat Patrol. We did some priming on that. We're not going to be doing the terrain. What am I doing here? That is what we're going to be doing there, is that right there. So let me bring this in, and then we'll kind of bring this down, and we'll just kind of throw that up there, and then we'll do a little perspective. Let's get some perspective on it. Boom. There we go. Okay, now I'm happy. Hey, we got George in. He's in the house, and we also have Ferrithus. This is pretty good. Morning, gentlemen, or afternoon, evening, wherever you're at. It is morning here in Korea, 7:51 a.m., and the weather is supposed to be nice today. Yesterday it was cold, it was rainy, it was not. It was kind of a rough day. That's Cebu. We don't want Cebu. It's about 34 degrees today. It's supposed to hit like 54 degrees is the high. So, and it's going to continue until the weekend, until next week. We'll start to get into the 60s and, mid 60s, and we should be good to go. So, yeah, we're having some fun. Want to go over a few things that we ended up doing because, as you can see on the table, we've got our, let me back that up a little bit. Boom. You can see we got the patrol team of the combat team. They're primed and ready, and we've got our Necron Lord there, and we've done some work. We actually primed them all up, saw a little bit of wiring on the Doomstalker, so we got that. But because I wanted to add LED light, I needed to print out a different base. Ferrithus says it's sunny but bitter cold, fluctuating wildly every day. That'll get you frustrated. I've been frustrated with the weather here in Korea because it'll warm up and then it kind of slaps back into cold, and it's like, seriously, really? I'm done with the cold. I'm ready for hardcore spring. So, which in about a week, we're going to be enjoying some warm weather down in the Philippines. So we got that going on. Looks like Ferrithus says looking good, ready for some paint. That is true. We're getting one step closer. And the wild part about this is that even though I'm excited to go to the Philippines, we're going to go to Cebu and we're going to go to Boracay, spend 2 weeks. I'm like doing this stuff, and I'm like, I miss my models already. So it's like, And but I don't know. Maybe it's something as you get older. I don't know. I did a lot of traveling as I was younger. So traveling as I get older isn't like something that's, like I used to do. It's, there's people that don't travel when they're younger, and then when they're older, they just go hog wild on traveling. But I'm kind of the exact opposite. I've done more earlier, and now I want to do less and just sit at home and do printing and painting and stuff like this. Ferrithus says, nice. I only have a weekend. I only have a weekend in Florida next week. Warm will be nice. We'll bring his camera with your new lens that you got a great deal on. But one thing I want to take a look at is this over here. Is our neck. We got a couple of things. So we've primed our miniatures, and I added a little bit of some bent wiring there, so that's going to be like some electric stuff that's going to be going on. Let me see if I can turn that. There we go. So that'll be some electric bolts coming out of his, whatever that is, hammer type thing. And so they're all primed, so we're good for that. And then, of course, the Necron Lord is coming along really, really well. You can see we got some gradients on the ribs and everything, and the orbs came out really nice. And yeah, it's turned out really good. So the next step on this guy, I need to throw in some eyes on there, some darker eyes, because he doesn't have eyeballs. So we'll do that. And then the next step on this is going to be this huge, huge cape. So, and then maybe a little bit of dry brushing to get a little bit, I don't know, we'll see how that goes. But the big one is going to be this guy here. And we've been playing around with some wires, and we put some wires on this guy, so you can kind of see it there, but he's going to be standing like this. And with the black prime, the wires turned out pretty good. But we're going to have an LED light right in there. That's going to be green, and we'll take a look at that. But the base that I have for this is super, super thin. So trying to add a battery case and base and stuff like that, which is kind of what we got here, you know, with our green light. Let's see if we can turn with our green LED. That's going to be that off. Yep, that's off. But we want to add a battery case, but it's got to be inside the base. So we already went ahead and ran the wires. We're good to go on that. So I ended up making a base for this. And so, me being the spork of Tinkercad, let's see, instead of doing a base like that, I made one up in Tinkercad with the battery and all that stuff, and we'll see if we can get that going. Ferrithus says, yes, that lens already has some good work. It's the little things right now. Yeah, on the Overlord, we'll go through and we'll add some of the UV resin on those orbs, and we'll cure that with the UV light, and that will really kind of make that pop. So we'll do that here. And then Ferrithus says, instead of an LED, put a green laser diode. Really? Interesting. I'll have to look that up. I've never even considered that. I always just LED. Maybe because I'm old. Maybe that's because. I need all these youngsters to help me out. So anyway, what I ended up doing is going to Tinkercad, and I ended up making a base. Oh, Ferrithus says that shoots a laser beam instead of just a green light. Ooh, that could be cool. Because then you could have like the LED light on there. Let me see if, where are we at? So if we zoom in here, we take a look at this. And you can see at the very tip of that, we have the LED, and then off to the sides, oh, that would be kind of cool if you had like 2 additional guns and you could have lasers, green lasers coming out of that. That would be cool. That would be really cool. So that might be something, diodes, lasers. I'd have to look up the wiring and the diagrams and all that stuff, but that is very interesting. Depends on how big it is. So anyway, what I ended up doing is going through, and on the base for the Doomstalker, it's 90 millimeters. So what I ended up doing is I had 2 different battery options. I found a battery case where you have one wire goes in through here, and then the wire just kind of lays in right there, and then the other wire goes through that hole there, and then it comes out here and then goes down in that slot. So there's no soldering required. How cool is that? And then you have the little switch, and we'll take a look at that. So what I ended up doing is taking this piece here and kind of put this on there and onto that. So now that is already pre-done on our base. And so I printed out, there's one for 2032 battery and then the larger 2050 battery. Both of them are 3 volts, but I picked up the wrong battery. I got the 2040 or 2450, and I was like, oh, so I resized everything, so we'll have to see if that works. Ferritha says those low power laser diodes are driven just like LEDs, current limiting resistor and a DC power supply. Nice. Yeah, that's what I like about these LEDs that I got, is that they already have the resistor and everything in there, so you just plug it up to a battery and you're good to go, and boom, you're done. So, but lasers, interesting lasers. I'll have to take a look at that. Green diode laser. Green lasers. I have to look at that. We can pull that up on, let's pull up some Amazon, and we'll see if we can throw in and do a quick little green diode laser. Of course, it would have to be small. Have to be small. And that the LED that we got on there, actually I'll have to look that up later. I just see large size lasers. Okay, but we'll check that out later. So, Ferritha says they're probably a bit bigger than the diode you have on there right now. Smallest I've seen is about 4 by 8. Yeah, that's probably about it. The ones I saw on Amazon, just doing a quick search, seemed a lot bigger. But yeah, I'd have to go through and see if we can get some smaller ones. But that would be cool for like a big cannon and something like that. So I will keep that in mind. That'll be cool. So anyway, excuse me. Going back to the base, I printed up the base, and let me see if we can find that. Okay, that's printed up and it's good to go. So let me go to the printer, our faithful Creality K2 Plus. I pull the build plate, and 2 hours and 13 minutes, 61 grams. And we will pull this out. Sorry about the coughing, my gosh. The air quality yesterday was horrendous. It was up in the 300s. It was actually bad. I mean, like really, really bad. And I kind of noticed it today. So we have our bases. And of course, I had to make them a little bit taller than the regular base. So I could do. And that is that one. That is that one. That is that one. That's that one. We'll clean that later. And I also have some ground texture coming in. So I've got some, but not enough for the combat team. So I'll have to be going through and doing that. Where's my deburring tool? Where is it? Where is the deburring tool? clean up so well that now I don't know where everything is. Oh well. So anyway, as you can see, we got a pretty decent base on there. Not worried about the top, but we got some good stuff there. And then we have our battery. So hopefully this will fit. We'll see how this goes. And then the only thing that'll be left to do is to drill some holes for the wires and for our Doomstalker. And so what we'll end up doing is we can take this over there. And I don't have any 2032s, but we'll give this a shot and we'll see what happens. So let's see, some other stuff going on. I'll save this one. Need like a Ziploc bag and write on it, and so that way I know what it is. So yeah, that's what we got going on. So let's go ahead and we'll go over to the desk and we'll start playing over there, and we'll see if we can get that battery case with switch on that 90mm base for our Necron dude, our Doomstalker. So let's go ahead and we'll jump on over there. Let's see, and we'll turn on the tablet. Yes. And I got this going. So yeah, this'll turn out pretty good. This will turn out good. But the question is, will this work? That is the question. Because like I said, I know this works because this is the same as this. I just kind of put it onto this model and set it, and we're good to go. So, and let's get this apart. Nice catch. So, what you can end up seeing there, no soldering, and that's how that works. And then it just has a little switch that will push that down so that it contacts the edge of the battery, which is the positive side. So you have the battery, and the edge is the positive side, that's the negative. So it just sits in there like that, and then when the like that, and then when it goes back up, boom, it's off, on, off. So this should work. This should work. Is that the size? Oh, that's right, because I made extra. So I guess it doesn't matter which one I use. We're good to go. There's our little switch. And it was a little ingenious how they made this. If you can see in there, there's some tiny little, see those tiny little things in there? Kind of like supports, and then they break free, and so this is able to bend. That is ingenious. I think I got this off of Maker World. But yeah, it was like, wow, that is really cool. So if we can slide this guy in there. It'll be a little stiff at first, but so now I don't want to bare those wires, so I'm just going to use this one so that way we can see how this works. And it was only a little bit of filament, so not bad. So you just put the wire through that hole, like we see there. And then, like we saw, this wire will go through that hole. As you can see, it goes through there, which amazingly works. Now where's my tweezers? Seriously. I clean everything up and I can't find my tweezers. I need to have a tweezer holder so the tweezer will go right where we need it to go. Okay. Let me pull this guy through. And we've got a tiny little slit right there. You can see that, and then that's going to go in there. It is a tiny, tiny hole. And I think what I had to end up doing is unraveling this. And get that in there. Now this should be the same. Get in the slot. Okay, I think we got that going. And then we can throw our battery in there. And it's going to go forward. So there is our base, and like I said, it's a bit stiff. And I just snapped the switch. Good job, Wilson. Why was that so hard? Wondering if that excess wire was causing problems. Possible. Okay, we got another one. Yes, we have another switch. And since I snapped that one off, I wonder good to go on that. Let's see if I can trim that wire a little bit more. We should be good to go. So now we'll try doing our switch part again. Maybe I should put a little bit of lubrication on there, but and maybe I can move that wire up a little bit. Like so. So it gets a better resize this so make sure I didn't. Seriously. Mr. Switch. Okay. So now seems like it's got a little bit of a dragging a little bit. Okay. So okay, I think the where you put the wire makes a difference. So, okay. Seriously? Seriously. Now let's see this. Almost like it needs some. And now it's not working. Seriously. Why is that not? It needs, the wire needs to go up a little bit more. So we will move that up a little bit more. All this for game model piece. Why is that not working? Seriously. Or it needs to go a little bit, I need to have a little bit of a wedge in there. Maybe that's it. I just need a little bit of a shim to see how that's going. Let's see. Let's see if we can do a little bit of shimming action. Shimmy, 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 shake. And I could probably do something like that. And so that way, and the other thing I could end up doing, let me get a little bit of WD-40. That might help a little bit, get that slide action going. Where's the WD-40? There you are. Seems like a tiny can. I got this big, huge one. Penetrating fast action. Ta-da! But I just want a little bit in that there. There we go. Oh yeah, that helps a lot. And now, that is just, I'm going to need a little bit more shim action there. See if we can double that shim up. This is odd because on the one that I made and printed out, that other one that we did, it totally worked every single time. And this one is being the bear. So, okay, yep, that's what we need. We just need a little bit of a shim action on there, and we should be good to go. Of course, I had to resize this from the 2032 size, so you can see there's a bit of a difference. And trying to size this up in the slicer or in Tinkercad was just kind of like pull it, have like a mock-up of the 2450. And then I just broke the switch again. Son of a bitch. I think I might need to redo that switch because that is just too small. So that is good to know. Okay. So, So we have a few things to work on, but nothing that we can't handle. And it's 100% infill, in case anybody's wondering. But at least we know we can get this going. We're heading in the right direction. And I'm also going to pick up some 2032s, and so we have that smaller base. So the good thing is, at least we'll be able to get this wiring done, and we can get that switch going. So, matter of fact, since I broke all the so there's our green LED, and that's what that is going to look like. So that'll look pretty cool. So, and then this will run down the back of this thing and kind of like that, and then we'll we'll do some more painting on this, and then we've got some heat shrink tubing that's going to come in, and so we'll splice these wires together, and boom, we will have our Doomstalker with his LED light. And eventually we'll get it under the base too. So, boom, that's what that'll look like. You can see that there. So yeah, not bad, not bad. We'll get it. So we're still working on stuff like that, but the good thing is we're able to have and get the base on there, and so, which is the same size. It's a little bit smaller on the top. So I made the 90, which is the base size, and then this kind of angles up a little bit more than what I wanted. So we might have to reprint this, but I wanted to keep it 90 as much as possible, but the top edge of that is, it's pretty darn close. It's maybe about 3 millimeters off on the top. About 2 millimeters shy. So, okay, so we got that going on. But that is our project for that. And then, like I said, the other thing we're going to end up doing is taking a look and doing some basing on some of these guys, because I don't want just the regular basing. And so we got some ground texture coming in, and I was going to use this about the same, I was going to use this same color that we have here. I really like that. But the problem is I can't find any more in Korea. And I've got this Green Stuff World Light Earth, and it's probably like down to here. So I don't have enough to do all these bases. So I ordered something else, which is another ground effect texture, and we'll see how that goes. So yeah, let's see. Always something. It's going to look really sweet. I got to get going. Still a bunch to do as before I crash. I had a good workout today, but now I'm tired. Weighted pull-ups with 62 pounds. Ooh, awesome. Ferret is putting in the work. Great job. Yeah, I did arms yesterday and cardio, so I had a little bit going on. Not too much. I don't want to go too hard, and just prior to our trip to the Philippines, I didn't want to like strain a muscle or pull something, and so yeah. So alrighty, well, have a good one, and we'll see you on the next one. I think what we'll do, we're going to continue on this, and we'll paint on some of that UV resin, and like we did on this guy here, and you can see the shine that puts on those orbs. I know that light is like really bright, it's washing it out, but it really gets that shine on there, and we can build that up, and that'll just set those orbs apart on this. So shiny object, that's what we're going to do to this guy here. And I've got the big light. Let's see, do I got enough room? Bang. Yes, it is the big light. So let us begin. Let us begin. I think this brush is ending up being our UV brush. This is also our paint thinner brush. When we primed this, our little guys in Vallejo black primer airbrush. So now what we'll do, where do I want to use a brush? because I got some small ones that I got to do on those scarabs and everything. Decisions. I guess I could just go for it with a large brush, whatever. And then we'll blast it with our UV crazy UV. Let's do the big balls first. And we'll just kind of spread that on there. And this will fill in some of those holes or ridges, but then it'll also give us that shine that we want. And let's get a little bit more. Light over there. And we'll get out our big light. Boom! And look at that. All kinds of goodness there. Let's kind of blast him up. And the cool thing is with the UV lights, he's got all kinds of cool colors on him. Make sure that we get this guy good. And enough to cure it for a bit. And this is a 20 watt. It's a 110. As far as the AC, it's 100 volts to 265 and does 20 watts to equals 200 watts. So we're working off 20 watts of UV power on here. So that'll be nice. And boom. You can see the that's kind of cool looking. So yeah. We'll see how that turns out. So we got a nice shine on there, which I think is good. And now what we can do is we just go through and we get the rest of the stuff. Put in the work in the cookies. Oh, thing about Facebook. My channel got deleted again. My page got deleted again. So I had to come up with another one. So I'm pretty sure my new Facebook page is in the description box, which is insane. So it's like, oh, you need to re-verify your account, you know, by doing the facial scan and everything, which is no problem. I did that. And it's like, nope. So I had to make another account. And I was like, seriously? Really? We're doing this? And I didn't even say like bad things. So now on this account, I'm just like, it's just insane. It is insane. So we're just going to do everything on the front face here. And then we'll just hit up the UV light big time. And just see what we can end up getting. And then we'll do one side, and then we'll do the other. We should be good to go. And the problem with the Facebook thing is that it ended up, there was a discussion, there was actually a news article posted by the Korea Times about some immigration, and then there were some people that were talking about, you know, oh, illegal immigrants need to have medical, they need to have benefits and all this stuff, and it's like, not if they're here illegally, because that's a burden on the tax base, you know. And then, yeah. Then the kids, because I know they're young, they're in their 20s, like 23, 24. They ended up, you know, apparently I hate people because, you know, but what they were doing was openly saying that Korea should break its own immigration laws and just give free stuff to all of these people that are here in Korea illegally. And there's a problem with that because that means more taxes. So it's like, okay, you want to do that, but you don't want to pay more taxes, and you want Korea to go against its own immigration laws. And just because somebody's here, that somehow that should guarantee them benefits. And it's like, well, the problem with that is that, you know, you have benefits that they get in Korea for being here illegally, benefits that they cannot get in their own country. You're only going to encourage more illegal immigration. So, and apparently that ruffled some feathers. So, yeah, it was. And then those two people, there's only two people. I don't know, I know exactly who they are. But I'm pretty sure, and then right shortly after that, of course, they said, I don't know what I'm talking about, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And then suddenly, my channel was reported for hate speech. It was like, yeah, I see what you're doing. And then, yeah. So it's funny how you're guilty until proven innocent. And so that was the whole thing with that. So I wasn't too happy with that. Hey, sweetie. Okay, so cold. Yep, a little cold. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, that's cold. Could be worse. Yeah.
It's fresh.
It's fresh.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that was the whole deal behind that, and it just ended up being very problematic because now you're advocating for people to break the law to get said benefits. And, you know, you bring up the fact that, well, if you give more benefits, you're actually going to entice more people to break the law and come to this country illegally. So, yeah, and they didn't like that. They didn't like that. And I'm a visa holder here in Korea. So I have to abide by the laws of Korea. So if Korea ended up changing the law to where they say, you know what, we're going to give benefits to illegal immigrants, and they're, the more benefits you give, it's been proven in numerous countries around the world that if you give more benefits than they can get in their home country, and you can go to that country illegally to get those benefits, you're going to have more people going to that country illegally. That's just a no-brainer. Well, apparently some people don't have a brain in that area or that expertise. So yeah, they didn't like that. And it's like, you know what? Even if Korea changed that policy and they said, yeah, illegal immigrants, you get food, you get housing, you get this or that, and medical, and the whole 9 yards. If the Korean government approved that, then I would have to live by that. But the fact that they haven't, I can voice my opinion about it. So, yeah, it was just kind of a weird thing. But, so, oh, we forgot his eyes. Forgot the eye sockets. And then once we're done with this, we'll throw them in the UV curing thing that I have for my UV resin printing stuff. And we'll get this all cured up correctly. I just wanted to get this stuff going. And I got to do a little bit of cleanup. And oh yeah, that's gonna look nice. I got some shine on there. I think that's gonna look really good. So let's go ahead and we'll proceed to the back. We will get our shine on. So yeah, that resulted in my Facebook page being deleted and canceled, even though it was like, that's stupid. So I blocked those two people, and now I got to try to get in contact with all the people that I had. Not that I had a lot of friends on Facebook anyway, but because I was rebuilding that after the last one. So it's just a time-consuming endeavor. And the other thing I'm thinking about doing on this Necron, let's change the subject to something more agreeable, is we will get back on this, and what we'll end up doing is we'll get a little bit of a white ink and we'll airbrush that in, and then we'll do a little bit of airbrush of some green ink to kind of help facilitate the glow, and yeah, we should be good to go. Alrighty. I think we're good. We've got enough shiny stuff on there. I think we're good. So we'll do is I think I'll just let this sit in water, and then we'll clean that up real good later. We got to go to the bank today, so so this is going to turn out pretty good, I think. Definitely got some shiny items on there, and what I'm concerned about, if you're wondering about this, is that I have noticed a little bit of bleeding or reactivation of the acrylic paints when I use the UV, this green stuff UV resin, clear resin. It can reactivate the paint, so any gradation that you put in there, it might reactivate and kind of mess some of those results up. So I think my advice would be to go through, and once you get the paint job done, go ahead and do it with a matte varnish, and then go back with your UV resin, and then that would be like the last step, and you should be good to go. And then what you could even do is go back with a high gloss varnish and just use the high gloss varnish on those shiny areas, and that will really lock that stuff in. I don't think you need to do it because the UV resin is pretty resilient, but yeah, I would throw some high gloss varnish on there. So now that we got that guy done, and I think there he is. He'll be on the base like so. We got some shiny spots from the orbs. And I'm thinking about getting some wire and have like some lightning, a little lightning coming off of his hand or something. I think that'd be kind of cool. So I'm thinking about doing that as well. So this will be a pretty involved little guy here. Ah, crazy. There he is. So yeah, turns out pretty good. It's definitely going to be nice. So, like I said, the next big thing is going to be that cape, and I think we'll do that in the blue. We'll try to do like 3 shades of blue, but yeah, I think he's turning out quite well. So yeah, good stuff, good stuff. Let me see if I can moving stuff around. So yeah, there it is. Turned out pretty good. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and we'll take him and I'll throw him in the UV resin chamber curing station, my Elegoo. And the question is it gonna be too big? No, I think it'll work. I got about a ½ inch to spare. I'll throw that on there for about 6 minutes, 5 minutes. Yeah, we'll do 5 minutes. And that way we can get all that cured and good to go. So now, I think that is going to be it. I really like that base. So the ground texture that I'm going to have for these guys on these bases is going to be similar to that color, because I really like that. I like the contrast that it has between the dark and the silver, and then of course, like on this base, I ended up getting and putting gold on there to kind of elevate it, and yeah, I think that'll look good. They will look good. They will look good. So, alrighty. Let's get back to the desk. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so we found out that our switch that we had for our base definitely needs a little bit of updating. We got Terry in this morning. Hey, good morning. Good morning, good morning. So we'll need to work on that. And well, like I said, I think the base needs, that switch needs a little bit better, a little bit bigger handle on there. Which I think we can end up doing. So that little switch right there is, it needs to be a little bit beefier. So that is something that we'll have to adjust. Let's see. Oh, let's get into, nope, not that. We don't want that. We don't want that. We did that. My Facebook page. My new Facebook page. We'll take a look at that. And so that way, if you're looking for me and you looked for me on the old Facebook, because that got taken down because certain people can't and don't like facts, and I'm going to make a concerted effort to, I guess, not talk about facts as much. It's just like, so here it is. So if you see me, the big guy there, and you'll see some of this stuff there. I've already got some people that responded, and there's my big self in Vietnam when we went on our trip. But what I'll end up doing is I'll copy this and we'll throw this into my Facebook page. So that's in the comments section, so you can do that. And then, yeah, so that's what we got going on there. We'll play around with that. And then the other thing I need to play around with is, let's go back to the desktop, because these switches, we need to make these bigger. So that little piece right there, we need to make that bigger. So what we'll do is we'll make a copy. And then that way we can have the original, and we'll work on this one there. We'll make a copy of this one, and we'll bring this one out there. And basically, I think we need to extend this till it's right there and right there. So we can add a few more millimeters on that. So, yeah, that's big. Let's change this to 0.1. And let's make that transparent so we can see what's going on. So we can, hopefully this will marry up perfect, which it does, yes. And then we'll make that a little bit bigger that way. So we get some more oomph, because that just snapped right off. The other thing we could do is we could curve that in, and maybe that would help with that as well. Okay, it's not going to get perfectly lined up. See how we got a little bit of a, let's see, can that just a little bit, it's like too much. And is that a little bit off? Okay, here's what we can do. We'll select both of these. We'll line that up with, it's not going to work either, but we can do that. And we'll see if that works out. And we're still going to have a little bit of a, oh, you know what we can do? So we can just select this. We'll just go over, what the hell. And we'll do the same thing. I know you're seasick, sorry about that. And we'll draw this one out to about right there. And then I'm not concerned about that, because what I can end up doing now, watch this. So we can get a fair amount of material there, and we'll take this, and that is going to be our hole, and we'll just kind of drag that up there. And so anything that is sticking past that, that'll cut all of that off. So we've got our box selected. We'll hit shift, we'll connect those two things together, and boom, now our side should be smooth. So now, good thing is, we should be good on that side. And probably want to take this up and seriously. And is that going to be... it's just a hair. Okay, sorry about that. That's just really small. But I think what we can end up doing is we'll kind of do the same thing. We'll just bring in a hole and we'll put the face of that on there. And that way we'll connect that, and then that we'll do union group so it's all one piece. And then we can connect the box, we'll union group, and that will give us a clear solid surface across the top. So we should be good to go. So we might have a little bit, sometimes these lines show up, but on the final prints it doesn't. So we'll print out a couple of those, and let me do the same thing on this. Now the other way that we could do this, here's the second way. We can go ahead and we can make, no, let's delete that. Let's go ahead and we'll make a copy. And then we'll take this tool and we'll just go like that. And we'll get another one, we'll go over here, and we'll just go like that. And, okay, that's the red one. So we want the one, okay, how am I going to do this? So we'll select that, we'll select that. We'll group those so the two holes are the same. And then what we can end up doing, I'm trying to go in here to see how can we get the orange one. I don't know if that's going to work. Oh, well, anyway, you know what? That'll work. So hit that. That, we'll combine those together. We have that. Now, see, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And we'll line up everything. And this should be good. And we can extend this out. And then just draw that out to there. And so we can kind of do the same thing that we did on that one. And that way we've got more material, select both of those, union group, and boom, we've got a larger switch. So we did that with both of those. That should be good. The other thing I was thinking about doing is I could take another one of these. So I'll copy that and then do a little bit of a swoop. Because maybe that little angle, How would I do that? I would have to go up to my favorites, and I think we'd have to do that fillet. There it is. But that wouldn't work. Oh, you know, we could do. Let's go ahead and we'll put this on its side. I'll drop that down. And then, what we can end up doing, let's go ahead and we'll get this organized. So everything is dress right dress. There we go. And now what I want to end up doing is making it kind of like a curve. So if we can go back to our basic shapes, and we can go to this edit tool or extrude tool, and we'll bring that right in there. And now we can end up doing, it's just so small. We'll just kind of eyeball it there. And I don't know if this is going to work. You can go like that. And then we could select that and go like that, but we want it to go the other way. Like that, and then we could kind of bring that like that. And we can move that over. So that way we've got a little bit of a but I want to make that shape the cutout. So I need one there, 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 and then do that. Okay. I did it backwards. That's not what I want. So let's go back. Now that I know what I want, so I would need this, this, and then we'll just have to make this here. We'll do that, and then we could grab this, highlight that. We'll do that, and we can that's going to be a very slight because I still want some beef on there. About like that. So hopefully that arc will be enough. Let's try that. So you do something like that. And if we create this as a whole, we get that arc in there. But will this be enough to... We're just... I need something besides 0.1 millimeter. But we could do that. That could work. And then we could do the same thing on the other side. So we've got that selected. We'll make a copy. We'll go up here to the top right. We'll do the mirror effect. And then we'll just kind of slide this one over. Like so. And then we can select all of those. We'll group those. And there we'll end up with our piece. Now we're still going to have a little bit of a problem with that because we got that little ding there. I'm not too concerned about that. But we've got two different switch options. And again, we'll do this at 100% infill. Hopefully that'll give us enough bang for our buck that I won't snap the switch off. So with our switching device. So yeah, we could actually end up kind of doing this and that. Oh, we can do the same thing over here as well. Let's just make another copy of this. And we will rotate like that. I'll drop that off to the deck. I'll take this. We'll go and do the same thing. See, it's just so close. And yeah, that. And this. I'll draw that one in a little bit. So I got a little bit of an arc in there. It's still, will that work? Oh, can we get it a little bit more? No, that's as close as we're going to get. I think we're good on that. So, and we'll drop that below. We'll make that a hole. We'll get that same type of thing. We will make a copy of that. We'll mirror it. Shift and left arrow. And we should be good to go. Group all those together. We're good. And we'll rotate this back up, which actually we can rotate this here because I'm going to export all those. No, that's correct. I'm stand corrected. Those are gonna have to be there. Okay. And then what we could end up doing is bringing these together like that. So we'll do that. We get these two guys. We'll bring them down like that. Maybe I'll just take them out a little bit further. And then we could select all those, make sure that they're all on the deck, and we can hit export. And that will go there. Okay, we're good to go on that. So now what we can end up doing is we can pull up our printer. And there is our printer. And we can pull up our new switches that we just made. Throw those onto the plate. And you know what we'll do? Right click, we'll hit clone. We'll do, as you can see there, we'll do one extra one. And we will do that. And so that way we've got a couple of different options. And we'll go through our layer height. Which is stronger, 0.2 or 0.1? I'm not sure. 0.16 or 0.2. 0.16 will be smaller, but 0.2 will be larger. I'm assuming the larger, the thicker it'll be. We need to go to our objects. We need to set that for our external spool holder, for Panachrome Polymaker Black. And we'll go back to global. Guess we'll leave it at 0.2. We'll do 3 wall loops. And our infill. Hey, we got Swedish Forge in. What's up, brother? Good. We're just fixing some switches because I snapped them off because I'm too big and burly. So we got that 3 wall loops, infill density. We'll just do 100%. Grid infill doesn't support. Switch to rectilinear. Yes, rectilinear, 100%. And let's see, what else do we need? That should be good. We don't need supports. There's no prime tower, don't need that. Skirt brim, we will do outer brim, and we slice this baby up, and those should be our switches, and they should be ready in about 12 minutes. 11 minutes and 56 seconds. So, got a build plate. I'll clean off this brim on here that we have. And we'll throw this on there. We'll put on a little bit of glue, on the plate, and then we can send it out. So if you can hang by real quick, and if you could throw a like on the video, I'd appreciate this. I'm going to throw this onto the Creality K2 Plus. And we'll throw on a little bit of glue stick on there. Just to make sure everything will stay where it's supposed to go. Just in case. And we are good to go. Alrighty. We're good. Let's go back to our desktop. We'll see that's good to go. We'll use our side spool holder, which will be our Panachrome Polymaker Matte PLA. We'll start the print, we'll hit OK, and we should be off and running. Alrighty. So yeah, we should be going on this. So, like I said, it'll be really interesting to see how that goes with the switch and everything. Hopefully this beefing up of that switch part will work. Because I think the other switches, they look like they're 100%. Of course, I already threw them away, but let me see if we can take a look at that. Do I have a spare switch? Yeah, it's 100%, but it's just that little piece there is what breaks off. So in that mechanism, and again, when you slide that switch, it takes this piece down, and of course the wire will be in there, and that'll connect up to the side. So you actually have a hole in there, and the wire goes on the bottom side of this, and then it kind of goes through this right there, the little crease, the little slot, wires go there, and then the other wire comes in through there and just rests there. So you put your 2032 or, you know, your battery, and then when you move this switch, it pulls that lever down and it could make contact, so you don't need to have a solder on here. But the larger one seems to be giving me problems, even though I scaled it up and it should be good to go. So we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Some comments. Swedish Ford says, good with me and you. I've been working on my computer and bought a new graphics card. Ooh. I ended up buying another, I ordered another camera, that YOLO Live camera feed that we get there that has the really good autofocus and everything. I ordered another one of those so that way we'll have a top-down view. So that way when we rotate through the different scenes, so we'll have, this is what we currently have, that, and then it zooms in, and that. And then if we do an overhead cam, what that'll look like is actually move this. So when I get my second camera, it will look like that. And so we'll have a downward view. And I need to move this a little bit like that. And I think that will be an awesome, because there we get a real good view for painting. And again, like I said, the autofocus on that is just incredible. So we'll line this up with the center of the mat. We should be good to go on that. But yeah, oops. That is how that is going to work. So with the two cameras, we'll have two different views. And then as we're painting and stuff, we'll have this view here, and then the other one with the top down. And that should give us some pretty good coverage. It'll look good. Swedish Forge says he got a gigabyte RAID on RX 9060 XT gaming OC 16 gig. Wow. He also got the Osbot Meet 2 to 4K camera. Cool. Nice. Yeah, I have to settle for, this is a USB-C connection for that camera. And it's 4K, but the autofocus is really, really sweet. So I pulled the trigger on that. I think it's even better than the Elgato face cam, which I'm using here. Because if you look at that, the autofocus on that is, it's just not, you know, you can get it like right there, but it's just not as good as the Yellow Cam S3, Yellow Cam Live S3 or whatever it is. So I'll have two of those and I should be good on cameras. So anyway, other stuff that we got going on. So I still got our printer doing the printing thing. Some of the other stuff going on. As we're waiting for that to print. What else do we got? Oh, the Korean won. The exchange rate here in Korea is over 1,500, which is crazy. So yeah, that's going to be, we're going to exchange some money and take advantage of that. Ford says autofocus is really fast on the camera Osbot Meet 2. Ooh, I'll have to take a look at that. I'll definitely take a look at that. Osmo. Let's pull that up and see what that looks like. Osbot Meet 2. And dun 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 dun. That's it. Oh, okay. Yeah. For 129, 2 to 4K, dual microphone, 60 FPS, that's good. Streaming, gaming, all of that stuff. USB-C connector, AI framing, zoom in, zoom out. That's kind of nice. Magical beauty mode. There you go. Forge can look fancy. He can look gorgeous. So let's see what else. 4K resolution, autofocus, nice, intelligent HDR, adjustable field of view. Ooh, that's nice. That's a good option as well. Gesture control. There was another camera that I was looking at for gesture that had this, and I was like, I don't know how much I would use that, honestly. Which would make me wonder if you're doing like a top-down view or like at the desk there with the camera viewing the desk, if you did the zoom in and zoom out. Oh, it says that you do not block your face. Put your hand right next to your head. Oh, so it must be, so that wouldn't work in the situation that I have. I was thinking if you just threw up an L and then it would zoom in, but I guess not. But there you go, magical beauty mode. You need that. Nice, nice. That'll be a good camera. I think that'll be a good camera. Have to show some details or give us your review of that to let us know how that's going. So, yeah, the fast autofocus, that's definitely the way to go. So, let's see, how are we doing on here? About 8 minutes left. Got to drink a lot of water. Trying to flush, cleanse, something besides drinking flavored drinks all the time. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. So anyway, I think what we'll have to do, I guess we could wait 8 minutes. We could do that. We could wait the 8 minutes and wait this out and see how it goes. You know what? Let's try. I want to make another one of these. And we can call this CP cam. And what we'll do is I'll get rid of this, and let's see, we do new overlay. How would I do that overlay? Desktop overlay. Use screen share overlay. That's it. There we go. And then I could adjust that. And so we could, oh, that's not what I want. I don't want two of them, I just want one of them. Just one. And now, and go to the bank?
Ready.
You're ready? Ready, okay. The wife is ready. Okay. You want to say hi to everybody?
No.
No? Just say hi. You don't have to be in the camera. So, there's the wife.
Hi.
Can't see your face. Oh, that's a different camera angle.
Okay.
So that one. You want to be on camera?
That's okay.
No. She's shy. Anyway, she says hi. Yeah, give me a few minutes because this is almost done printing. Swedish guy from Sweden says hi.
Hi.
Hi. So yeah, we got to head to the bank and we're gonna get some American money and change it to Korean money because the exchange rate is pretty darn good right now. Matter of fact, no, that's not what I want to do. I guess I'll look it up on my phone. We only got 4 minutes left. I got a friend request. Yay. Confirm. Let's see. Confirm. So, and the internet on my phone is like slow. So 1502, that's an excellent exchange rate. It was '07 earlier this morning, but we're going to get some, because usually it's normal should be about 11 or 12, but it's been hovering at 13, 14-ish. And so the 1500, that hasn't hit 1500 in a long time. So US dollars to one, we'll make some decent money off of that. So that'll definitely be worth doing. We're almost done. We got 3 minutes left. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to ask. Put it in the comment section. So close. See if we can fix our base problem. And well, we'll just get all that ready. 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes. Stand up. But we got about a week left, and we go to the Philippines, so that'll be fun. That'll be good. So we'll spend a week in Cebu. So we're going to go swim with whale sharks, so that should be good. And let's see what else. Oh, and then the second week is going to be we'll be in Boracay. Swedish Forge says my computer froze. Eyes purple crying. Unless it froze when I was making a weird face, I could understand that. We got 1 minute left. We're so close. Can we zoom that in a little bit more? I think we can. And we are done. There it is. Nice. So let's go grab that. $10 minutes, not bad. Nothing quite like a nice warm plate. Seriously. That hurt my toe. Okay, let's see. So we got 2 big ones, and we did one that is a little bit, you can see that shape, it's a little bit arced. And then we did the other one where it's just straight up and down. So those are for the big ones. These are for the small ones. So let's go back over here. And I guess, well, now let's do this. That. And I guess we'll just do that. And we'll go back to this. We'll see if we can. So we Get our Necron Overlord guide going. I'm going to try the one with the little square. So we'll see how this ends up working. And take a look at that. Oh, you know what we can do? Let's do our top down. So we can see what this will look like eventually. Okay, so you can see there. So one wire just goes in a hole in the side there. The other one, there's a hole that goes inside here, and this moves and then comes out there. So it just hits right there. So, and supposedly we don't need to solder anything. And if we move that, but it's not, I think we're going to need a little bit of a, a shim in there. And like we did before, we used some paper, but we might need a little bit more this time. Because I had to size this up in Tinkercad, and I could only do in increments of 0.1, and it's kind of eyeball it. Okay, so hopefully that'll work like that. And so now, yeah, we can put on our case. And seriously, there we go. So there we've got our light. Ding. Okay, so that ended up working. Okay, it's a little, I could make that a couple millimeters taller because it's just like right on the edge. I have to use my fingernail, but that extra bit of beef will work. And yeah, okay. I think that'll be good. And like I said, eventually this will work for our Doomstalker that has the LED in there. So that'll look good. Okay, getting closer. But I think this also needs to be a little bit wider. A little bit thicker this way for that switch, because we did take off a little bit. And that is, yeah, that's not gonna, did we do the same thing on this one? No, let's see. have to make that thicker. That's what that comes out to. So yeah, we'll have to widen this out a bit. Okay, back to the drawing board. Okay, there it is. That's what we end up having. I like that top-down view. That looks good. I think that will work. The only thing I don't like about that is the YellowCam Live camera, is that it has a magnetic base to it. So let me show you what I'm talking about, which I thought might be a problem, and it actually is. I mean, when we're talking about a webcam, this is nice, but there's no screw hole. It just hooks on there with a magnet, and then if you wanted to do, you know, the other view, there's a little magnet symbol there. But the problem is when we do that, and then you have your cable connector there, and then if there's any type of, you can see the connector there, if there's any type of drag on there, it's going to move that. So I guess what I need to do, I need to make a cage for this. So we get some measurements, and then we could put a quarter 20 insert, and so that way I wouldn't have to worry about, because it's just, you know, you just barely touch it and it's just, that'll move. And so I kind of noticed that, and I don't want to glue this to this mount. And I could hot glue it, there's that, but it's just a little bit too much movement there. And with the USB-C cable that's on the back of that, that's, you know, I wish there was a strain relief on there. So what I might end up doing is putting that connector on there, because I think the connector, yeah, I've got an adapter. Or do I need an adapter? Yeah, because the cable I got, I had to get an adapter. So I could probably hot glue that adapter onto there. And then that would be a good thing, because then it would reduce the strain on that connector. So, but yeah, it's just needs to get fixed. Alrighty, I guess that's going to be it, folks. We got to get ready. We got to go to the bank. I still need to clean up and put on some real pants, do that so we can go exchange some money. But that's what we got going on. So we ended up continuing work on the base, on the Necron Army, the combat patrol combat patrol that we have there. They're all primed, ready to go. Still waiting for some ground texture to come in. That should come in today. And if so, we'll do a video and we'll do all of that. So, yeah, fun. Appreciate the likes and subscribe to the channel. If you could do that, that would really help me out. And if you want to contact me, the best way that you can do that is through this email address here, officialtheverylife@gmail.com. Thankfully, that doesn't go away. And my YouTube page. Keep fingers crossed. We got a bunch of people over here who bought me coffee, so that is an option, link downstairs in the box. But like I said, the best thing you can do is like and subscribe to the channel. With that, we're going to go ahead and let everybody go. Not that there's a lot of people. We got Swedish Forge and a couple others. We got Terry Ferrithus. I think he's still with us, or he took off. He might have taken off already. But yeah, subscribe, like, so that way you can see how we're going to do the bases for that combat patrol. I think those will look really cool. And then eventually going through the painting process of all that. And good double-sided tape. Oh, for the camera. That is an option. I didn't think of that. That is a possibility. Or I wonder, No, I'd have to make a cage for that. I thought one of my other camera has a cage thing, but I was just looking at the dimensions in my head, and it's like, yeah, that one's not going to work. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's going to be it. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that. It really helps out the channel. And stay tuned for the next one, where I think we're going to be doing the bases. Actually doing ground texture on those combat patrol bases. So that'll be the next one up. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, that's it. We'll see you. Bye. Thank you.